Delighted you're here because I'm about to save you a lot of pain. This was my first store. I sold garden products online and I was so reliant on ads for the first 18 months. I desperately wanted some SEO traffic. I knew it would grow my business. I knew it would help profitability, but I did genuinely put the work in and I couldn't get any of my pages to rank. And the reason for that was I was going after the wrong keywords. So today, I'm going to show you why in tools like Ahrefs, Ubersuggest, etc., you're only finding keywords that you can't rank for, especially as a new business, new store, not a powerful domain, etc., not loads of money behind you either. And then I'm going to show you two AI tools that literally changed the game for me. So after that 18-month period, I started doing things differently. I started finding different keywords with different tools. And that is when I ended up selling this business for over 700K. This was a key part of that. After 2.5 years, my organic traffic in that 12 months went from 0 to about 20K per month, as you can see on the sale listing. And that was massive in terms of profitability, growth, and getting that 500K pounds, 700K US dollars in terms of sale value. After I've shown you why you're only finding keywords you can't rank for, I'm going to show you how to set up those two AI tools. They're not expensive at all. They'll cost you under $1 in simple API calls. They're also not complex or technical. And I'm going to show you how to use them to find low difficulty keywords you can actually rank for, and therefore how you can get your first 10K per month in organic visitors in the next 90 days. So let's dive in to actually showing you the problem first and foremost. So as you can see, my bestseller on this site was pergolas. Okay, so I wanted some organic traffic around that keyword. So Ahrefs is typically seen as one of the best keyword research tools, paid SEO tool on the market, but this is true of SEMrush, Ubersuggest, whatever you like to use. So I would come in, pergolas obviously my parent keyword for these products, and then I would look at related terms. And this is a good way to find keywords related to your parent product that you might want to rank for. And yeah, absolutely, I would have loved to rank for pergolas, louvered, with a roof, kits, etc., even if I go further down. So we'll put some filters on here. So I put the keyword difficulty to between 0 and 20. So the lowest of the low that Ahrefs will show you. And if I look at, for example, pergola for patio, right? So that's got a traffic potential of 8.5K. So I'm thinking, yeah, I would absolutely love to rank for that. And it's got a keyword difficulty of 20, which is seen as medium. So this is the sort of thing that Ahrefs is telling you you can rank for. But then when we actually look at who is ranking, you can see a 62 domain rating, 37, 90, 88, 60. Now, my first store would get absolutely blown out the water here, and yours is probably the same. Unless your domain is over 5 years old or you've spent a lot on backlinks, you're going to have a very weak domain rating. You're probably going to be between 0 and 10, and ultimately you're going to get absolutely blown out the water by domains like this. So that is why I ended up going for keywords that would have, say, 8.5K monthly in searches, or search potential rather, but I would never rank on page 1, and therefore the end result in terms of traffic was 0 clicks basically, which of course was pretty miserable because I was putting a lot of effort into creating these pages and getting absolutely nowhere. So what I did instead was I decided, okay, what I'm going to try and do is moneyball my way through it. Instead of going for this sort of like, high traffic potential, I was going to try and find really underserved keywords that maybe have 100 to 500 monthly searches. Let's say by ranking, in the top 3 positions, maybe you average 250 clicks per month. But if I did that across 100 keywords, that would get me to 25K in monthly traffic just by kind of moneyballing my way through a lot of small underserved keywords and kind of piecing them together to make up my traffic profile. So that's exactly what I did, but I needed to actually find the keywords I was going to go after. So rather than using Ahrefs, what I did was I connected directly to the data source. So this data for SEO, it is the data source behind Ahrefs, behind Ubersuggest, SEMrush, etc. But we can actually call it directly. And there's 2 ways that I did this. The first way was using a Google Sheet and a script. Really, really simple. And the only job of this simple script, which I'm going to show you how to set up, essentially you just need to, if you comment below on this video, I can send you the actual script here and you can just drop it into your own Google Sheet. Very simple. And what it's doing is it's grabbing all the informational keywords. So when I search pergola here, you can see there's loads and loads for a high ticket product like this of informational keywords. Things about materials, features, sizes. You can see some here. What's the difference between an arbor and a pergola and a gazebo? What's the main purpose, etc. But there's also some really high buying intent questions. And these sorts of informational keywords are so underserved because everyone just goes right for the commercial keywords. So what I can do with this is really simple. Just put in my parent keywords. You can see here I've put in pergola, gazebo, awning, country, United States, and then I just hit fetch. And it will take about 5 minutes to pull this information from Data for SEO. And essentially, I'm paying 20-cent API call. Okay, so really, really effective. And you can see the output is essentially all of these informational keywords that I can rank for. And there's some that are very informational and therefore maybe a little bit far removed from buying intent. But there are also some that are really high, kind of like browsing. They show interest in buying a pergola. So things like, do they add value to a home? Things like, what is the lifespan of a pergola? That's someone who's considering, if I buy this and spend 10K on it, how long am I going to get to enjoy it for? Where should it be placed on a patio, etc.? So you can see here how many keywords we have to rank for. And therefore, we can pick out the ones that are going to have a really strong buying intent. And that's when we can start to use some of these to piece together our 100 total keywords that we're going to try and moneyball our way to this 25K per month. Okay. There's another reason that we want to rank for these keywords, and that is because Google has two ways of assessing your domain in terms of whether it should rank for a keyword. And that is domain rating or domain authority. That is purely how long's your domain been around, how respected is it in terms of backlinks, etc. Whereas topical authority is how much of an expert is your domain at a certain topic. And topical authority comes from you showing Google that you have expertise in a particular area. So by answering questions like this, all these different keywords, and showing we are a real niche expert in pergolas, we can upgrade our topical authority. And therefore, even though our domain rating is not the best, we will then have a better chance to rank for other keywords because we've upgraded our topical authority. And by ranking for these terms here, all of these kind of questions surrounding pergolas, showing we're an expert, we'll have a better chance to rank for commercial keywords further down the line. And I'm going to show you how we find those commercial keywords now. So another tool that is again using Data for SEO and the API is this custom GPT. Very, very simple. All you have to do here is essentially just connect a custom GPT to the Data for SEO API, so you can call it directly. And then I can use the right prompt to find underserved commercial keywords using this and that data source. So I'm going to ask it, I would like you to find me long tail commercial keywords in the United States related to people who want to buy pergolas and gazebos. I only want low keyword difficulty, long tail keywords, and I want you to call the Data for SEO API to find these. I am looking for things where people have a specific idea of what they would like to buy. Maybe they've even combined them into one long tail search term. Think things like certain materials, certain use cases, certain sizes, etc. Maybe things like 10-foot by 12-foot pergola, wooden pergola with feather edge roof. Think pergola over hot tub, pergola to mount to the back of a house, pergola that can take glass on the sides, certain costs, certain budgets, etc. Can you give me an initial set of 50 to look through? Okay, so I've obviously dictated the prompt out there and we're just letting that go through, and it's going to go ahead and call the Data for SEO API so it can look at all the raw data that things like Ahrefs use to then just present in these nice dashboards. But we've obviously given it a very specific prompt around what we want. So we're going to let it work and then we're going to come back and I'm going to show you the output. Okay, so here we go. We've got an initial 50 commercial long tail keywords, and don't get me wrong, I'm going to give it feedback here because there'll be some that I like and some that I don't. So these size specific ones, these are an absolute gold mine. 10 by 12 foot, 12 by 16, 12 by 20. All of these long tail kind of specific size of pergola and gazebo are great because they're underserved, because everyone's going for, the overall parent terms of pergola, aluminum pergola, wood pergola, etc. Meanwhile, we can rank for, even if there's only 100, 200 monthly searches, we can rank for these. And the great thing is we can point them at a specific product that is really tightly matched to that search intent. So not only do we get the traffic, but we also have a high chance to convert it. Then we've got things like oversized and large. I mean, maybe small pergola for townhouse is interesting. That's a nice kind of small use case that we could dominate. Again, for narrow side yard, that's another interesting one. These ones attached to house, etc., wall mounted, they're a bit too generic. We're going to struggle to rank for those. They're exactly the sort of thing we'd actually find on Ahrefs, so I'm less interested in those. Again, pergola for hot tub, a little bit too generic. Cedar pergola for hot tub is better. And then again, with privacy panels for hot tub, again, that little bit more specific, more likely to be underserved, and we can go for it. Okay, so looking through that, and then also we've got kind of these, again, vinyl, too generic, but things like pressure treated, maintenance free, etc., there may well be some potential in. And then I'm going to prompt it one further, and I'm going to say, now, can you give me an assessment of which of these keywords would be the easiest to rank for a site that has a low domain rating, under 10, and has only been around for around 2 years. It has some topical authority on pergolas, but I'm particularly looking for keywords where there aren't super powerful domains ranking on page 1, and therefore the keyword difficulty is much lower and more underserved. Can you highlight which ones would be the best cases for that? Okay, and then we're going to let that work again, and I'll show you the output when we come back. And here we go. It's pulled out the ones that are the greatest opportunity for a DR10 site. And it's particularly found these because there is not only not the strongest domains currently ranking for them, but often a lot of them aren't really a match for the dedicated landing pages for these keywords. And you can kind of see, you can see I've done this before because some of these kind of passed the eye test to me when I saw the long list, but it's going to be things like pergola with wind blocking panels, cedar pergola for hot tub, for a narrow side yard, for a townhouse patio, with privacy panels for a hot tub. And these sort of double requirement keywords are often gold mines because people will have serviced often pergola with privacy panels, and they'll have serviced pergola for hot tub, but pergola for privacy panels for hot tub often can be a really good opportunity to rank. And essentially we've now got a list of, that's maybe 15 or 20. So we can combine those with, let's say we find 50 informational, and then we find we've got 10 there commercial. This is before we can find more, of course. This is just through one search. I could prompt it further, but there we've got 60 total keywords, let's say with an average traffic potential. It's going to be low, let's say 200 monthly searches. That still gives us the potential to rank for 1,200 monthly visitors. And the thing is, you rank quicker for low competition keywords because there's nothing there. So Google has a better propensity to rank you quickly up the top of page 1. And the nice thing is on lower competition keywords, you rank faster. So that is why I've put this very realistic goal of, if you find these keywords and then create the pages to rank for them, you'll be able to rank more quickly. And therefore that is why this 10K per month in visitors within 90 days is very realistic. And that is why when I was 1 year plus into this store and I was languishing around 500 clicks a month, and then I implemented this strategy and very quickly went from there to 20K per month, it was an absolute game changer, not just for the sales I was making, but also for the profitability, because suddenly I went from almost 100% of my traffic being paid to around 60% of my traffic being paid and making more sales. So my acquisition cost didn't really go up, but my sales did. And therefore my profitability, and then ultimately what I could sell the business for, was a real game changer. Now, this is just one of many strategies that I use to take myself from 0 to a 7-figure e-commerce business. I've now got 3 more of these stores like this one, and I still use this strategy today. It's incredibly effective. I also have many more across SEO, paid advertising, and more. So if you want to see all of those in this show and tell format, make sure you hit subscribe and start watching through the back catalog. If you want to be able to set up either of these tools, just drop a comment below and I will send you the app script so that you can get going.